next chronicle was written by the Poles. This is the Polish bishop. His name was Wincenty Kadłubek. He was living from around, we are not sure, around 1150 till 1223. He was Catholic, prelate, and he praised this a priest in high office of the church, and the Prof Cistercian, Bishop of Krakow from 1208. The most influential scholar in Poland in the late 20th and early 13th century. The father of Polish identity. Sensitive to theatrical effects, he was the first to lead a vigil lamp before the Blessed Sacrament in the church. So that's something that you can see always in Polish Catholic Church. So I think that this is one of examples of his theatrical sensitivity. He invented different prehistoric dynasties for the Poles and inserted artificial time gaps among them. Thus, he stressed the idea of Poland as res publica, the people's thing, the people's affair. And this idea, which could survive quite well with, and this is the Republica, which is the country, which is the nation, which could survive quite well without rules. This will be something that we will find developed in later Polish history, sometimes in very dangerous direction. This idea of Republica, of the peoples who are ruling themselves, would be the origin of this institution, which is called in Latin liberum veto. I do not agree. We will have the parliamentary law, which will empower one person only to stand up during the decisions, during the parliament decisive voting, and to pronounce aloud, I freely do not agree. And one person could destroy the law. Of course, this would be used against Polish kings, against Polish lawmakers to, for example, impose taxation, to impose modernization. So we will be stagnated, we will be blocked by this crazy liberal veto, I do not agree idea. But here, this republic is being born. He brings us also many stories which are extremely fairy tale-ish. As you can see, Poland looks like this, a smaller little bit, and here is the chronicle itself. Chronicle of the kings and princes of Poland. First sentence is extremely interesting. There were 3 of them who, for 3 reasons, hated theatrical performances. In Latin, because this is written in Latin, cursus theatralis. What the problem he had with theater? There was not theater in Poland. Nobody in Poland knew what the fuck theater could be. Because in the medieval times, especially in this early medieval time, the word theater is the offensive word. You say the bishop is making theater because the bishop is drunk and molesting the boys in the choir. So this is theater, is the pagan institution. Theater is blasphemy. So why use this word theater at all? We know that Kadłubek was very well educated in Latin classical readings, so he could read a little bit about theater. But why he introduces this word theater in the first sentence? Of course, these 3 Greeks who hated theater were Demosthenes and Alcibiades and one other. So all this is totally fictional, and we don't know how he invented. Of course, there are some researchers now that trying to find the origins of this writing in some other German chronicles, maybe. Nevertheless, this is the first sentence, which is about theater, about the hatred to theater. Funny. But next, when you go and you read, there are 4 books. And first 3 books are actually in dialogue. These are theatrical talking to each other by two important priests, Archbishop John of Gniezno and Bishop Mateusz, historical characters, real persons. And they are talking about the Polish prehistory, and they are introducing many fairy tales, many characters which are totally fictional, like for example Gracchus and the dragon in Krakow. Krak in Polish, this Gracchus, of course, probably this was modeled on this ancient Roman Gracchus, very famous character in the history of the empire, but still. And this Gracchus has two sons, and the sons were killing the dragon who was requesting people of the city to give him one beautiful virgin. And when the sons of Gracchus killed this dragon and they liberated the city from the monster, the inhabitants of the city decided to name the city for the respect of Gracchus, Kraków. And so that's why Kraków became Kraków. This is totally fictional invention, but beautiful invention. Another virgin, Wanda. Wanda was the daughter of Gracchus, and she became famous when she was confronted by the German army. She, instead of giving herself to the prison, to the kind of subordinate position to Germans, she threw herself to the river. She has chosen to die instead to go into captivity. And so, and my most favorite story is again probably, this name Lestek was probably not fictional. Somebody like this could exist. This was the goldsmith artist. But the whole story is totally fictional. Lestek, the ingenious goldsmith. Listen to this. The goldsmith halted the invasion by Alexander the Great. Of course, never happened, but still. That ingenious artisan gave the order to make dummy armor and shields of wood and bark, printed them with silver and gold paint, placed them on the summit of the mountain to reflect the sun's light. The Argeraspides, Alexander's celebrated soldiers, suspected an attack, for they were sure they saw military formations before them. They fell, however, into an ambush. The goldsmith swiftly burned the entire stage set on the mountain to conceal the deception, and sent a large contingent of spies to the rear of the attacking enemy. Spies. After slaughtering the Argeraspides, the Poles put on themselves the enemy's kits. They put the enemy's almost like the costumes on themselves, like actors dressing in costumes to play the roles of Greeks. Then they marched into Alexander's camp with Greek signs of victory, greeted rapturously by the people, by the troop. They made a surprise attack on the unarmed and unsuspecting Greeks, bringing utter chaos to Alexander's camp. The Greeks began to cut each other down, and Alexander barely escaped with his life. So, extremely theatrical event, which is totally invented, but which is contributing to the national pride. This is the story, just like the ancient